Keith Parris. I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. Our phone lines are open 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. You can hear live the activity in the background. It's Wednesday, joined in the studio by Miss Bria Grant. Good morning. Good morning, Keon. Good morning, young Carby. Yo. Yo. I heard the whole what's this about a hit being out on me? What?
Wait, what?
Man, no, I'm listening, and they done put a hit out on me.
Hey, Michelle.
Wait, I need that.
For this hit?
I need.
He talking about he got a hit on him.
I need.
I was listening, and they got a hit. $2.50.
I take it. Yeah, it's a hit out on you.
And then I'm hearing somebody, yeah. I'm like, come on, man. What did I do to be going to put a hit out? What'd I do? Anyway.
Well, I don't want to play like that.
Yeah. So anyway.
We wasn't playing.
They wasn't playing.
That's the whole point.
Had me scared. I was scared.
Cut it out.
Like, I don't know. I might not get security out here to get me back and forth, man.
Ain't no love in the heart of the city.
Ain't no love.
In this side
Well,
of town.
what's crazy is you actually have to be a little careful about some things. Keith, as a public figure, which you are, naturally you could potentially attract stalkers and people maybe that want to,
it's safer as a public figure because you got to be accountable for that. But when you got nobody, you really
right. You just like me
disappear and nobody knows.
You know who I am? No. Back in the when Huey P. Newton, I don't know if people, Black History Month, Huey P. Newton really struggled with cocaine, and he got to the point that it was bad. So he would walk into drug houses and go, "Hey, I'm Huey P. Newton, give it up." So he ran up on this drug dealer who had no clue to what Black history was.
Yeah.
And he said, "Hey, I'm Huey P. Newton, give it up." And dude killed him, capped him right there.
Right.
Yep.
So, well, that's not how you want to use your position.
No, I mean, but even when they did the movie The Mac, they talk about it wasn't just the pimps and the real gangsters. It was also the Black Panther Party that was also extorting the people, to get a little something. So, all right.
Well, I will say I'm glad to see you, Keith.
Well, I'm glad to see you.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
Been such a long time
since I seen you.
Can't seem to get you off of my mind.
All right, you all.
Yeah, we got a song for everything.
I was actually speaking to someone about the uniqueness of your ability to have a song for everything.
Mr. Blue. That's Mr.
It's
Blue.
a real talent.
I mean, there is a song for everything.
Yeah, there is.
I got shoes. You got shoes. All God children got shoes. Gonna put on my shoes. Gonna what? All over God. Heaven. Yeah. It's a song for everything.
All right. As we pull it up again, our phone lines are open for 414.
Hey, while you're looking for what you're looking for, can I make a quick announcement? Once again, tomorrow, love you tomorrow. Intergenerational Talking Circle part. It's the second one, sponsored by West Care, Wisconsin, Safe and Sound, along with other partners at Claiborne's Place, the Wisconsin Black Historical Society, 2620 West Center Street. That will be tomorrow. That's Thursday, February 29th, 5:45 to 8 p.m. We had a great turnout the last time around, about 60 folks. Very beautiful murmur, beautiful intergenerational transfer, great conversation, great feedback from the talking circles, and there was a request for more. So it would be facilitated by yours truly, along with the folks at West Care and Safe and Sound. So once again, tomorrow at Claiborne's Place, the ITC, Intergenerational Talking Circle, sponsored by West Care, Wisconsin, and Safe and Sound, 5:45 to 8 p.m., 2620 West Center Street.
Thank you so much, Keon. I really appreciate you all hosting that effort. We definitely have to be really intentional on there's a gap. There is a huge gap of transfer of knowledge, information, morals, ethics, values. That gap is just, it really is. So I wasn't here last week because I needed a mental health break.
Amen.
Just I tell people, and I share this because people see you all the time, they see you're happy, but I really struggle during this darker part of the year because I'm working in the community and I'm experiencing the community at the same time, right?
Amen.
And so when you think about the lift, the weight of that, you're really trying to day and night find solutions.
I'm not just the owner, I'm also a client.
That's right.
Right.
Right. Day and night, you're on and you're a client. You're working, even in my role is not a lot of direct service, but at Unite WI, we facilitate services, to the community. So it's nonstop. But when I look at what it is, one, our community is just in chaos. So I took a mental health break, sort of, kind of. But I say that because I have this link on, and I know we're gonna have our caller in, an amazing guest caller is gonna call in for a second. But let me just say this really quickly. I have this notification, a news neighborhood news link.
Right.
This thing is ridiculous. Every 5 minutes. So I'm not here, right? Last week I just stepped away. My notifications at least every hour.
Ding, ding,
I'm
ding.
getting the local news. Someone is shot, someone is stabbed, somebody ran off the road, even in when we think about some of the administration's things, they need $200 million over there. Somebody else need $1 billion. It's like we need housing. It's like all these news articles, these notifications that is just like we are in chaos.
Right.
Our community, and the only solution is being able to bridge this gap, the educational gap, the wealth gap. It's not just one gap. It's a multiple gaps.
Like a mouthful of picket fences.
I don't know what that part means.
The gaps in your teeth. Yeah, the gaps.
Oh, I don't know. So it was. And I'm glad to see you all doing this because this is what we need. We need to be able to have facilitation of our seasoned folks who, quite honestly, they are the ones still holding us up in some ways. We can talk about, our seasoned folks are committed. I'm surprised sometimes at how long praise the Lord. My auntie was recognized last night at the Bucks for being the first Black employee. She was hired in 1970. Her name is Sandy Short. I love her. Shout out to my Aunt Sandra. And I'm just like, whoa, we don't have folks that stand on jobs.
You know what? Because I got to make a phone call. I'm going to get off the mic for a second to reach our person. But you were talking about the transfer. I'm going to tell you, our youth are looking for that.
Yes.
And I always go back to the poet Janiyah when she was in this meeting, this Zoom meeting over COVID with all these 40 organizations. And she said, you adults, y'all good. I mean, y'all come strong too, but y'all don't come long. Y'all don't stick around and you're not consistent.
Mm-hmm.
So while we think a lot of the times these kids want the money and this and that, things that we wanted as kids, their life is way different. You know what I'm saying? They want guidance.
Yeah.
And we think we're giving them guidance our way and not the way they need it. And that's really what they want. They want elders to talk to, elders to teach them, elders to try to understand them, and that's really the key. So what they say, each one reach one, we're not reaching them and we're not teaching them. We're just trying to tell them our story and what they say, trying to live our life through our youth, what we didn't do, trying to tell them where we went wrong, and you're betting on your need, not instead of trying to see where they are, see how they feel, see what they're interested in, guide them, and then expose them to things without forcing things on them. So that intergenerational transfer is definitely necessary. Not a lot of elders out there.
All right.
Keith.
I was talking to someone who worked with kids, and I just asked. I said, so pretty much what Kim was saying. I don't know. I don't know how much choice children should have. I mean, I don't know.
Say that, Keith. And you know what? In some ways, that's
I don't
part
know.
of the problem,
Okay.
right? That because we've had this gap, you know, there has been no standard, right? The standard has not been maintained. Let me say that a standard has not been maintained where you're right. How do these children get all these rights and all this, you know, reading Dr. Spock and all those folks, right? That's people know who Dr. Spock
My
is.
mama didn't read
But
Dr. Smith.
So while I was away, I observed something.
What you observed?
Talking about the children, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was in the airport, and you know, maybe it's I'm not the best parent by far. By far, I'm not the best parent. But I was brought up with some standards that I really try to incorporate with my children. One, as little girls, they were taught how to sit. You need to sit at the table and eat. No, we don't eat our food walking around and running around back and forth. No, you need to, and you can finish your food and then you can get up. You need to sit down when it's time to sit down. Period. You know, children have their moments where they can be active and they can be engaged, but never once would I ever think my 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 7-year-old will run around the airport crazy, jumping on the stairs. And it is not even about, you know, what the ethnicity of the child is. It was just this gentle parenting that I just, quite honestly, I don't understand it. So gentle parenting is saying, well, I'm just going to allow them to be free and explore their space. No, this is not an environment where you run around, and we need to create standards. One of the things just the elders teaching you, right? Go ahead, Keith.
No, I part of that moving around though is the exploration piece of it, where their curiosity. I mean, you have to do it within limits. Someone was talking about how middle class people raise their kids, and they raise their kids to one, have curiosity, and one, to not all middle class, but to, you know, challenge authority. And I think that that's just a byproduct. But I, you know, when I'm looking at kids and I understand they want structure. You know, adults want structure. Everybody wants structure, right? So I just always try to figure out how much we should you know, how much leeway we give them. But no, I don't, you know, my goddaughter, they could always go through the house because every place they go is going to be a book. So, I mean, let them explore.
So, okay, you sound like a gentle parent. What I'm saying is
non-parent,
gentle parent.
You know what? To each his own. To each his own, right? On that. So, but what I'm saying is, we need to create some. We need to create some discipline within the children.
Well, discipline is one thing, but I think you should almost you balance it.
Yes, and I did state that they do want to explore spaces, but the airport is not always that space where you can just allow your children to run around and jump on the furniture. It's just not appropriate. Not only that, here's where my mind goes to, right? You know, if there is a moment of crisis, I need you to come quickly. I don't need to be trying to chase you down. I don't need to have to say to you, Johnny, 5 times, come this way, please. I'm telling you, I'm not going to say it again. No. In urgent times, no. I need to be able to look at you.
No.
I need to be able to look at you. That's what happened to you, right, Keith? Your mama was able to look at you and you fell in line. That helped you to have discipline in your adulthood. We're raising adults. We have to remember that. Now, if you feel like that didn't help you in any way, shape, form, or fashion in your life, then you didn't take out the proper lessons. You didn't get what the intent was. The intent is that you need to respect a level of authority. And that shouldn't require much from you to do. It should not require the police to chase me down when they put their lights on. I should pull over. I know that is the law. That's the level of authority I should be given the respect to. Now, I got rights. I'm gonna drive to the gas station. Oh, now you in a high-speed chase, whether you know it or not. And, well, you can't tell my son. No. If your child is wrong, this is the gap we need to begin to fill. that we need to begin to address. So thank you, Keon. Thank you to West Care. We love West Care as a partner of Unite WI. We have community health workers there. In fact, Safe and Sound as well. Thank you for their sponsorship. In fact, one of the things that we really want to be intentional, and this is why I was saying, all we can do is get in our lane and rock it out. That's what we need to do. If everybody identifies what their lane is and rock it out, we'll play a beautiful song in our community.
Yep. All right.
I thought that was going to be a transition to our caller on our musician.
And again, make sure you like us on Facebook at 860 AM WNOV. And you can also watch us live on YouTube, WNOV The Voice. And they say, and subscribe. So again, I have to make the adjustments of the video piece and coming in now on video.
Didn't I try to help you with that, Keith?
I didn't, yeah.
I tried to.
I know you did.
This is what happens when, so you could have been past this. You could have been, we want to heal our community. So we have to take the wisdom when it comes. Go ahead, take your call.
I don't know what my video shyness would have to do with the community, but okay. All right. I want to get the caller, or what do you want to do? All right. Caller, welcome to the program.
Hey, Keith. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. What's happening?
Listen, Keith, it goes like this. Follow us on Facebook and like us on YouTube and subscribe, okay? So y'all get that money, bro. But if you keep saying it wrong, it ain't gonna work. All right.
Okay. Well, first of all, hold. I'm reading the script. Make sure you like us and follow us on Facebook, 860 AM WNOV, and on YouTube, WNOV The Voice, and you can subscribe.
Okay.
Is that okay? Is that better?
Fine. Okay. And what's her name? I forgot your name. I don't want to mispronounce it.
Bria.
Good morning.
Now, hey, good morning. Now, what kids did you see acting out at the airport?
All right.
That wasn't our kids, was it?
All right. Well, let me do this, bro. Can you call back? Because we're trying to get a guest in, and so we're going to clear the lines.
Oh, okay, for sure.
All right. Appreciate you. You're listening to Community Voice. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Bill Taylor's broadcast career began when he served in the U.S. Army in Saigon, Vietnam, working for the Armed Forces Radio and Television Network. Born in Chicago and raised in the Ida B. Wells housing projects, Taylor first worked on WNOV radio. He brought an unparalleled ability to find the good in any story. He joined the WTMJ news team in 1972 and was the personification of Black excellence in media. Taylor helped to create the segment Positively Milwaukee to focus on Milwaukeeans who positively impact the community. In the more than 29 years that Taylor was with TMJ4, he traveled the world bringing back stories that impacted Milwaukee. Bill won numerous Milwaukee Press Club awards, American Bar Association certificates, and was nominated for a regional Emmy for his work on TMJ4. Taylor retired in 2001 and relocated to Augusta, Georgia. Today, we salute Bill Taylor for his remarkable career in broadcast media and journalism. This is our history. Let's celebrate Black history in Milwaukee.
This moment in Black history was brought to you by Milwaukee County Office of Equity.
The Milwaukee County Office of Equity honors yesterday's, today's, and tomorrow's changemakers during Black History Month. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for our online tributes to local history makers and for local Black history facts. Looking for the perfect spot to unwind and hang out with your friends? Well, come visit Brownstone Social Lounge, located at 524 North Water Street, Milwaukee's premier downtown social lounge. For good vibes, great music, and delicious food, be sure to try our amazing wings and drink specials during our all-day happy hour on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And that's not all. You can also enjoy happy hour from Thursday to Sunday from 4 p.m. until 7 p.m. For more information, please call 414-204-0103. Brownstone Social Lounge.
The law offices of Washington Franklin is a second-generation law firm serving the greater Milwaukee area for more than 30 years with relentless representation in child custody placement and child support issues. Now, maybe it's time for you to talk about a divorce. You see, you can truly trust Tarina Washington Franklin to help you overcome these stressful and difficult times in your life. Washington Franklin Law Firm also does personal injury cases, automobile accidents, dog bites, and civil situations. 414-444-4260. Located at 10425 West North Avenue, Suite 302. Phone attorney Tarina Washington Franklin for a free consultation right now. 414-444-4260. 414-444-4260. 414-444-4260.
You're listening to WNOV 860 and W293CX 106.5 Milwaukee. Now, back to Community Voice with Keith Parris and Bria Grant on 860 AM and 106.5 FM, Milwaukee. You're listening to WNOV 860 and W293CX 106.5 Milwaukee.
Welcome back to Community Voice, and we have on the line with us, and hopefully I'm not gonna, murder your first name. Is it Delfio? Did I do it?
Marcellus.
Pronounce it for me just so I won't kill it.
Yeah, sure, Delfio.
Delfio. Okay.
Yes,
hey, welcome there.
Now, who's that playing on the theme song?
Ah, there you go. Tell him, Keith. Tell him, Keith.
Man, that was none other than Fred Wesley.
That's what it sounds like Fred Wesley.
Yeah.
Well, and you're a trombonist.
Yes, sir.
Man, your name sounds familiar, man. Do you have any siblings?
I do. I have 5 brothers.
Okay. So your 5 brothers, all of them play, right?
No, 3 out of the 5 play.
Okay.
And of course, Branford, the oldest, he plays saxophone. Winton, next on trumpet, and Jason, the youngest, plays drums.
Okay. And then you play trombone.
Then yes, I'm on trombone.
How'd you get on trombone, man? Was because sax? Are you the younger?
I'm younger. Yeah. So yeah.
So trumpet and sax was already taken.
Was taken. But look, I'd say they're well suited, kind of with our personalities. The trombone, the peacemaker in the band.
Okay.
You got to just kind of keep things calm.
Okay, and that's what the trombonists do.
Oh yeah. Unless it's too calm, then we can shake it up a little bit too, like Funky Fred.
Oh yeah. That, and I had an opportunity to hear your brother, was it Brandon Marcellus? Bradford. Yes, he was here with his group, and man, what an incredible performance there at Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra Hall. You'll be here tomorrow, though, performing at the Marcus Performing Arts Center tomorrow evening at 7:30, correct?
Yes, we bring in the Uptown Jazz Orchestra, and we bring in that New Orleans funk. So that's why I was glad to hear you starting off with some Fred.
Oh man, we Mr. James Brown, everything from that tree, right? We rock it. How long have you been doing this?
Oh, just this particular group has been together since 2008. But what I find is, like, I started producing recordings at 17 years of age, and I did a lot of production work, and I've been on the instrument for a while. So when I bring a show, we bring in the whole production.
What were some of your influences as a trombone player? Who were some of your influences?
Yeah, the main influence early on was J.J. Johnson. Of course, I was fortunate, and I played a gig with Fred Wesley and Slide Hampton, Robin Eubanks a number of years ago. But so I would say there's so many influences on the ballad side, somebody like Tommy Dorsey. On the blues side, Al Gray, who played with Count Basie Orchestra for many years. And then on traditional side, more Tyree Glenn, who played with Louis Armstrong and Vic Dickinson. I mean, there's so many guys, you know.
And you also tomorrow you're doing something with MPS students, correct?
Yes. We're gonna do a master class from 4:30 to 6, I think it is, and we're gonna, work more on hearing music than reading music.
When you say like hearing, what do you mean by that? Hearing the music as opposed to reading it?
Well, in the schools, it's really important for the music for them to read the music. So a lot of times they don't focus on really developing their ears and learning, which is the way we play in New Orleans all the time. And that's what we like. The brass band. You see the young men on the street, and women, they're playing, and a lot of it they just work out by ear.
Okay.
And there's a great classical method. It's called the Suzuki method.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And it's the same thing. You learn by ear as opposed to trying to read it.
And that's what they did with the kids with violin, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what they say. Okay, make sure you hear it, because music is to be heard, not so much to be seen, I think.
So when you're talking to young folks, how much do you do a little history in terms of maybe how you got to this spot or how we got to this spot in terms of our musical history?
Not so much in that respect, but I do let them know that it's important to know who the great musicians were, especially Louis Armstrong, Charlie Parker, and to keep in mind what they had in mind when they originally started the music. But also, I encourage them, because a lot of the youngsters studying jazz, they don't listen to the popular music of today. They don't know any of the music that's being played on the radio. So I encourage them to learn some of that by ear, so that they know what their peers are listening to.
As a jazz musician, how do you see the health of jazz right now?
Oh, it's healthy. The big thing is this. I always say about New Orleans, people say New Orleans is going down. And I said the reason jazz was birthed in New Orleans is that we're a survival city. Mm-hmm. We know how to survive. And this is survival music. So the music becomes what it needs to be. It's not like it's one particular thing. And what we're doing is a branch of it, and what we're bringing, that New Orleans sound, is very important for people to hear.
You're in the airport right now, so I know you're en route here, correct?
I'm en route to Madison. We play Madison tonight.
Okay.
And we come to Milwaukee and finish out in Minneapolis.
Oh man, nice little tour. Have you been to Milwaukee before, Wisconsin?
Oh yes.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I've been to Madison. Sounds like my dad in the background. It's my dad, huh?
Who's that?
Not Funny Valentine from your Mardi Gras.
Oh yeah, okay. There it is.
That's your dad?
Oh yeah, I could hear that sound.
Hey, that's like he identified his father's fingers.
Oh yeah.
You got such a unique sound,
Wow. That's you?
Yeah, the funny thing about that concert is that was on a Friday. And Wednesday I was in Boise, Idaho. And we had one day off. And flew to North Carolina to play a concert on Thursday with the North Carolina A&P Jazz Ensemble. And it was one flight, I think it left at 6 a.m, that got me to Kalamazoo at 8 or 8:30. And I made that flight. We went straight to it. We did a children's concert that morning. And then we did this concert in the evening. And the folks asked me if they could record 1 or 2 songs for the radio. And they ended up recording the whole concert. And it ends up being the best night of me playing.
Wow.
So we put it out on CD.
Wow.
Hey, speaking of children's concerts, how about this one here? Is that the Sesame Street theme?
That's Sesame Street, baby. It's a
He
blues,
said that's
you know.
Sesame Street, baby.
Yeah, it's a fun song.
Wow, man. What?
But you know,
I'm
we're
sorry,
bringing some of the Mardi Gras music. I don't know if y'all have the Uptown on Mardi Gras CD, but we're bringing the big band funk tomorrow. We got vocals and everything.
It should be. It should be. So again, Delphio Marsalis, and he'll be here tomorrow evening.
There's that Mardi Gras Mambo.
Tomorrow
Yes,
evening at the Marcus Performing Arts Center. You can still
Okay.
get tickets, man.
Yeah, a little
Safe
Mardi Gras
travels,
Mambo.
man. You got here today, and it's about 16. It was 74 yesterday.
No.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you know, we
Yeah.
humans, we're adaptable, so you
Yeah.
have to roll with it.
All right, man. Well, thank you for taking time. I know you're en route. Appreciate it again. Mr. Delphio Marsalis. He will be performing
sir.
tomorrow evening at the Uptown. What is it? Uptown Jazz?
Uptown Jazz Orchestra.
Oh man, sounds like it's gonna be a great show. Appreciate you, man. Safe travels.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. So we continue. Sorry
But he
about
said,
that
"Is that
recording.
my dad?"
Yeah, well, you can.
Ain't their father gone?
I think he could.
Yeah, so that was I didn't even pay attention.
Right.
He heard that finger and that tone.
Yeah.
Ain't that my dad?
Yes,
That was
sir.
beautiful.
Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Keith.
Good morning.
And Tina.
Good morning.
You know, I love growing up. My parents loved jazz. Saturday evenings, they would play all types. I don't know why Herbie Hancock is the only one to stick with me.
He'll be in town
And,
too.
you know, I beg your pardon?
Herbie Hancock will be here, I think,
Yeah.
April 2nd. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And, you know, over there on Fond du Lac, it used to be a record shop.
Uh-huh.
Been there for years over there in that area. I hope they really revamp that area. And when my brothers would get their allowance, they would go and buy music. I was never that, you know, remembering names and all the jazz time. I have to get with Keon to get me a jazz thing that just because it's really relaxing in the evening to just get away from all the noise of society and everything and just relax the mind. But from Michelle's show to yours right now, this has been thought-provoking. And like Bria was saying, you know, you can be gentle parenting and all that and make your kids think, just like I'm at fault. Because when I was raising my children, trying to create a safe environment, making them think that the world was a beautiful place and everybody is just great and innocent. And you create all these different safe places for them to go, when yet they have to navigate through some things that are not so pleasant.
Mhm.
And you're not going to always be there. And I think we're not being fair to them if we don't teach them the pitfall. And everybody that smiles at you is not your friend.
That's right.
Making bad choices and knowing, okay, if you do this, this is the consequences for it. In our house, my father was a military guy, okay? He was in the Army. And when he told my brother to go in there and clean that room, and he wanted to flip a quarter on that bed, he wanted it to bounce up. I don't know if that's really true of what they do in the service or whatever.
Oh yeah, that bunk is tight. Yeah, it's tight.
And so my thing is, there were consequences. If you broke this rule, there was a consequences to that rule. And my brothers used to, now that, you know, two have deceased, and we used to sit down and think about, God, when you do the most treacherous thing, you contemplate I'm gonna get a beating when I get home. And he lets you slide. You do the littlest thing, then you get that beating. Why not just follow the rules?
Yeah, but you know, you bring up something. I know we were talking about soft parenting. We've had this discussion before on the program about the effectiveness of corporal punishment, as what we call in our community a whooping.
It's just discipline. Don't call it corporal punishment. It sounds really bad.
Well, corporal punishment is what protects you under the law as a parent.
They put
because you are allowed to
not breaking the skin.
Yeah, you can
not breaking
discipline
the
your
skin is what
children.
protects.
Right. It's corporal punishment though. You're whooping them.
Keeping them in the house till they heal is what protects
we
you.
need to, but you know what, language.
You're not going to school today. It's what protects you. You know what the hell you doing. That's what it is. Bernie Mac said the white meat, and he got a TV show. It's real.
Kia will not be joining you at Go to My Year today.
Yeah. No, I got mine in the coat room behind the class. And they heard me all the way in the basement.
And that's funny. I had a teacher at Victor Berger, Mr. Sharp. He would call you in the cloakroom. Can I see you in the cloakroom for a minute? It'd be on and cracking there, boy. It'd be like, whoa.
I'm gonna
tell you,
had that ruler.
That was
this couldn't be
that
legal.
was Miss Edwards at Harambe, and she walked with the ruler and.
Yeah, sure did.
She didn't whoop you; she wrapped your knuckles.
But you know what? We respected her. We respected her. And while there may have been classes that certain kids would go in and clown when they came there, they straightened up. So they knew how to act. Right. It was just he was gonna let them get away with what?
Now let me tell you, Miss Edwards at Harambe, she wore a pantsuit. And when she walked down the hallway, she had rhythm. She had an afro, and she twirled the ruler with her all day like a baton.
Wait a minute. So, Miss Bell, I had at Oliver Wendell Holmes. This woman had incredible. You know what she did?
What she did?
She went and bought a pair of desert boots so she could leave the classroom and then sneak back in the classroom to see if we were misbehaving. That woman bought desert boots. She told us. That's what I got them for. So you can't hear me coming. Yeah, you can't hear me coming. And Miss Bell, oh man, talk about, and she would, boy, she'd be in trouble today. So one day, I'm eating candy in the class. I don't even know, because I don't even like candy, but I'm eating candy in the class. She sees the candy. See me eating the candy. She said, take the candy out your mouth. Oh, I take the candy out, thinking she's going to tell me to go throw it away. Wrong. She had some plants up in the window. She told me to take some dirt in my right hand and put the candy in the dirt, and not a piece of dirt. And I had to take a test. I had to figure out how to write and not get any dirt on that paper.
It helped you. It helped.
It didn't help me. I'm scarred.
No, you will.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
But you know what? It prevented you from being a certain way. You didn't even know what it saved you from.
Here's the question: did you go home and tell your mama what she did? Right. That's the whole catch.
No, because mama would have called her, said thank you, But as I said,
That's the village.
yeah, as Moses said to the children of Israel when they hit the Red Sea and the Egyptian was on the tail, he said, stand still, see the salvation of the Lord. I love clause B. These Egyptians that you see today, you will see no more.
Mhm.
My mama, this behavior that you see today,
You will see no
you will
more.
see no more.
That's right.
It's going to be handled.
That's
Okay.
right.
So no, I didn't go home. Like I'm going to go home and say I got in trouble. Only 172 ever got home in the history of my matriculation at MPS. Only 172. And there was a lot of 72s written. Only one got home. The only one that got home is when William Brown, Mr. Brown, and I had an altercation. It wasn't much of an altercation on my part. It was more me being victimized. So, okay, no problem. You don't put your hands on me. I mean, he wore me out. So I take that 72 home. Mama, you got to come to school. You know what he did? Oh, man. So my mama, we drive to school. And normally if my mom's in school, I'm 18 steps behind her. Not today.
You was right
We side by side today. You don't put your hands on Cliffy, son. So I run up in there and George Hughes. And so we're in there with Mr. Hughes, my mama, Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown, so we hear Mr. Brown never raised his voice. That's the crazy thing about Mr. Brown, yet he was the most feared teacher at Parkman, right? So he tells the story. He said, I asked the young man to come and to leave the bathroom. He did not when I asked him. I asked him again, and then he said something, and then he walked out. And so he went to the classroom. And here's my famous last words. Miss Guest is my teacher. I'm sitting against the wall, right? He goes in. He said, Miss Guest, I need to get that young man right there. And she says, Keith, you need to go with Mr. Brown. Not in front of my peers. If Mr. Brown want me, Mr. Brown come get me.
Oh, no, you didn't say that, Keith.
Yeah, I did say that.
Yeah.
Mr. Brown came and got me.
Right. Immediately.
Oh, man, he wore me out, man. I'm going down the stairs, the whole piece, right? So me and my mama come in. He tells that story, exactly what happened. Then I throw in, because I'm a kid, right? And tell him you called me a punk.
Oh.
And he never raised his voice. Yes, I did call him a punk. So, so my mama over there sucking her teeth, rolling her eyes, going, she getting ready to do you. My mama leans forward. She said, man, let me tell you something. Here it comes. Don't put your hands on my... She said, if he does it again, here's what I want you to do. The same thing.
Amen.
I'm like, you could have stayed at home. you ain't helping me. What's up with that, right? You taking his side? But you know what it did? I'm a 13-year-old kid, 13-year-old black male who doesn't have a male in the home.
That's right.
Changed my life.
Straighten you up.
Changed my life. And then I used to see him at Low Drugs as he worked there part-time. I'm like a sophomore in college. He said, young man, how you doing?
That's right.
I'm looking at him like, no, man, I'm in college.
I'm
in college. Oh, sure, he helped me get there. He just took it all out of me, man.
So, thank you, caller. We appreciate it.
Yeah, so that discipline, I guess it helped.
See you tomorrow, man, mama.
All right.
I know we got another caller. I wanted to talk about the MPS referendum that's coming up on April 2nd. Yep, go ahead.
Because you really want to have a serious conversation about that.
Go ahead.
Caller, welcome to the program.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
To everyone. Happy Black History Month.
Yes.
I'm black and I'm proud.
I'll keep on.
I have a question for the three of you. So is there and should there be curricula in school to know how to conduct yourself at home and in the public? I remember when both of my sons were born, before we left the hospital with both of them on two separate occasions, my wife and I was showed a film, and it showed us all of the struggles that we're going to be going through with the baby and how much it's going to change our lives. One thing I remember is when the baby starts crying and you can't get the baby to stop crying. Mm-hmm. That could be, that could be very stressful. And, they just showed us some techniques and things to get through it. But most of all, they showed us what changes is going to be brought into our lives by having a new baby and a new kid in the household. And my question to both of you is, all three of you is there any structure within our school system to teach our children how a household should be? And I know that could be controversial. However, I think a lot of the problems that we see in our communities is because of parents don't know how to raise their children in the household. They don't know how to respect their children in the household. They use any type of language that affects our children in the household. And I just want to ask you, do you think that there should be some curricula in the school systems to correct that? Thank you.
All right, so let me get this straight. I take a class in school about how I should be parented, and then I go home and share that.
Yeah. Well, either way. So I got a curriculum.
I know what my mama gonna say.
My curriculum was, you better act better when you're away from me than when you're with me.
No, the real talk.
Because the curriculum at home about home was taught at home,
right?
And the curriculum about behavior outside of the home was taught at home. And my grandmother tried that. She had her own curriculum, and they said, "Don't let your grandmama house get you killed at your house." and then I remember one good time. It was just one time. You heard about the one time? Well, I pulled it at my grandmama's house, and my daddy looked over at me. He said, in this voice right here, real close to my face, "You done got me in trouble with my mama. You just better wait till we get home." So try that if you want to. Don't let Irene's house get you hurt at Carolyn's house.
You know, the danger is that,
the danger?
Farting at your grandmother's house sounds like that was pretty dangerous to me.
The danger is that...
Yeah, he said he pooped. What did you say?
No, I pulled one on my daddy. I got him in trouble thinking my grandmama was going to save me.
That's what I heard. My bad. Farted.
No, I said I pulled one. He thought I said I pulled. No, I pulled one, and my grandmama saved me at her house. But he said, "You done got me in trouble with my mama. When I get home, we gonna talk about it."
Well, we are the victims or the beneficiaries of our upbringing, and I don't know. You can write books. Every kid is different. You know, every kid is wired differently. How they respond to things. Birth order
based on their parents, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, but it's a lot. That's what makes it so. It's always been complicated to raise kids. I mean, it's because all of them could be different. You know, me, my brother and sisters, 3 different cabs, right?
Is it complicated to raise children?
You tell me.
I didn't think it was too bad.
Okay.
Aside,
you did.
Well,
you qualified it.
The children part, like it is the
making them is easy.
It's the
easier than raising them, maybe.
It is the dynamics by which children are being raised. That's what makes it difficult, right? Like if I'm struggling to make ends meet and I have to work 2 jobs, that means I can't be home to instill the things that I know I will be more intentional on if I had the capacity to be, right? So it might not necessarily be that the rearing is overwhelming. It's the circumstances in which I have to rear my children that makes it burdensome. And so, you know, I think that, well, one, let me go back because I was going to talk about this NPS referendum. So I'm glad the caller asked the question. And I, you know, I struggled with this, but we had Mr. Marcellus. And a part of the referendum is to support new musical instruments and equipment in 90 schools, including 2 new piano labs. Now, I don't know what that means, right? But, you know, we're asking for $200 million to support the school district. And quite honestly, I struggle with it. Even though I talked about going to Our Avenue, I went to Jackie Robinson, I went to John Marshall, I graduated from Milwaukee Spectrum, you know, so I've been a product of of MPS, and in no way want to see its demise. It should be robust, it should be healthy, it should be strong, it should be able to serve the needs of all of our children. But that's a big lift. That is a big lift. However, arts, we know, is a low-hanging fruit that we don't usually invest in very well, that has a unique ability to shape a mind and to shape character. And so I believe we definitely need to invest in the arts. And it is also a neutral ground, right? So you have people that come from all kind of backgrounds when you're in public school setting. And quite honestly, by law, if a child touches the MPS door, they have to serve them. That's the law. They're a public school system. And so that's why people do prefer private options. I believe that people should have choices, not that we say, oh, everything about choice. No, as a parent, I should have the option of educating my child, because it's my responsibility, right? This is not the instilling morals into our children is not the responsibility of an academic institution. I think sometimes we shift too much of our responsibility off to entities and systems.
But if I'm in a parochial system, it is supporting certain moral behavior. So, I mean, especially in religious schools, like if I'm in a Catholic school.
So I stated that's why some people prefer private options.
Right. Now, I'm going to disagree with you in terms of I do not think the government should be paying for the private option.
So
I think that, now this is just me personally.
Yes, I'm going to let you finish this point, Keith.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. No, I just, and it could be, and I shouldn't, apply my experience onto it, but what we should be doing is resource public education to the point where it is either comparable or superior to private school system. Well, it won't be, because when we talk about private school systems, we're talking about Brookfield Academy, we're talking about University School, Prairie School. That's a totally different stratosphere comes to education. I think the other piece of it is, how do we make, because education is beyond academics, it is, how do I make the most well-rounded individual in the world? I think that becomes really important. That's why the music is important. That's why the art is important. Because it's just more than reading, writing, and arithmetic. Our education is so much more what we expose kids to, right? Like, think about it. During the summer, we have this enormous drop because kids are not necessarily, we don't put our kids in geek camps. So the educational process is on hold for 2.5 months, right? Now the kid needs to get back up to, because they spent a whole summer doing what they're going to do, have fun.
Yes.
But I'm just a firm believer now in during the summer, if they're not in summer school, put them in geek camp, something where the educational. But I'm supportive of the referendum because I understand the importance. Now, people, well, why would y'all keep coming back for money? You keep coming back for money because the one thing that MPS or any government entity cannot do is go out and generate money. It's dependent upon either the voters or the legislature to say, here's what you get to operate with. Where a company can go in and do things to increase their profitability, public systems are not designed to do that. We just write a check and hope that the services that we're paying for, that people are going to receive and that they can benefit from.
They have options to raise additional funds. They do fundraising. They have a foundation. MPS has a foundation.
But they shouldn't even have to do private foundation. It should be publicly supported.
Can I address your point there? Because I'm glad you brought that up, Keith. This is why I struggle, right? Because so I demonstrated I am a product of our public school system. I don't want to sound biased, but I think I turned out pretty great. I have a degree. I'm running a successful organization. I'm doing community work. I attribute my journey through public education to that tremendously, and my experience at a HBCU. But I have also worked in the system, right? And in working in the system, I've witnessed a lot of inefficiencies. And I've also seen some of the policies that don't allow for us to educate our children in the best way. And maybe as a child, I didn't really quite understand what was going on because, that's not my lane to try to understand those things. I don't know how long these issues existed, but they're deep and they're wide, and we need to address some of the management, right? So a lot of times we just want to keep throwing money. Why? It's not that I have a problem with supporting education, public education, any education. I'm a mother first. And so I think children should be educated well, and they should be educated in the way that supports their family dynamics. But I recognize that, guess what? My babies getting ready to go to private school. Right, wrong, or different, how somebody feels, they're going to what is the best educational option for them. And guess what? It costs. So while my property and I'm not making numbers up. It's not bad. It's not bad. But if I say your property is $200,000, well, you're going to have an extra $500 on your taxes, and everybody needs to be happy with it, and everybody needs to support it. And I'm not saying that we don't, but that means we're going to continue this trend. This is what I want us to be mindful of, right? Yes, we want to support academics. We want to make sure we have healthy arts. I think that's the priority. I feel like we got a lot of waste in central office, right? And I would love to have a transparent, and I guess I could go to the board meetings, as often as I could. I would love to be able to see, how do we have a transparent budget where those who are paying the taxes can have some input on how the dollars are being managed. If we're going to every year have a shortfall that we're asking taxpayers to pay. So how do we say, yes, we want to have this, we will support this referendum, and we need to have more accountability to the people as to how dollars are being spent. That's my argument.
You're listening to Community Voices Wednesday, joined in studio by Miss Bria Grant. We're going to take a break. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
106.5 FM, Milwaukee.
You ever scat kid?
No, man, I'm not that good.
Bria, that's Lattimore.
Oh, okay.
You know, let's straighten it out.
Oh, I like those that artists.
How the hell you think I should understand? Don't even know what's wrong.
But what the song say? Out to get you.
Out to get you, baby. Here I
Yeah,
come.
yeah. We just need to know.
You know, I don't have kids in the. I don't have kids. I don't have children in MPS. With that said, though, I understand the collective benefit of a well-educated workforce or folks. And so I believe that then we should invest in education, whether I have kids there or not, because better educated kids, I want to use successful, better educated kids can do different things in their lives or have different options in their lives, and then we benefit as a collective. And I think that sometimes we talk about our own individual piece, and we should, but then we're also part of a collective. That's why we form government, right? So collectively we can do more than we could probably do individually. I think that the referendums in February this month were voted down, I think, all over the state, because this was a low turnout election, that primary, which means the people are going to show up are people who
don't support this type of effort.
Or they're older, don't have kids in the system, and they're going to show up and vote, because I don't want my property taxes to go up. But, you know, my property taxes can go up if they have to increase, for example, property taxes in order, now we don't do this, but to do more public safety. Because as a direct result of some of the things you were talking about, systemic poverty, people who are not very well educated. I was watching something and it was talking about the number of people who showed up for the job. They showed up. All these people showed up, but only maybe 10 of them were even qualified to get the job. So that's kind of where we are. Look, if you graduate from high school, from an MPS school, you should be able to do pretty basic things in life. One of the issues that MPS faces is that some of their students who enroll at UWM had to be put in a remedial program just to get them up to college level.
This has been a long time.
But
these processes had to be put in place for us, right?
But there's a lot that goes into that, because it's not just MPS. It's also the parents. Yesterday, I was lamenting that I didn't have a school teacher for a mom or a parent, because I see the difference in the people I know who had school teachers and where they were academically. Now, their lives are something else, but academically where they were, I mean, because their folks were teachers, they were trained in pedagogy. They understood how a kid learns, level, and then put on, and then they would go like, okay. What I found amazing, many, many years ago, they did a survey of MPS teachers, and how many of them even had their own kids in MPS? That's like working for Coke and drinking Pepsi, right? I mean, you
drinking, I just shouldn't bring it to the plate.
Right. I mean, but if you don't believe enough in your product,
right,
because you don't want your kids, then that's telling you something about the product. And that, let's say if those kids did stay, first of all, they're going to be high performers because their parents are teachers. So academically, they're going to be high performers, which then brings up the level, you know, of MPS. But when you're looking at the number of kids who are reading at grade level, and it's abysmal in terms of that, and some of that could be, when I was in school, one of the things that we always bragged about was reading above grade level.
Yeah.
That was a big badge of honor for us. So if I was in the 4th grade, I'm telling my friend, yeah, man, I read at a 6th grade level. I read at a 7th grade level. That was, but now I don't know. And then I can understand it because there's a lot that goes into it. And if you don't, I don't know, you'd hope, you know, like you did in spite of, right? I don't know how many people in your family ended up going to college. But that's an in spite of, because then when you look at statistics, I'm not just saying college, because college is not the end all.
Trade who are stable and successful
in their lives,
stable for the most part.
But one of the standards we use is, well, college degree, right? That shows a certain level of attainment. Usually it could put you, not as quickly, but it could eventually get you in the middle class eventually. So I think we need to support it. I've been a 30-year opponent of defunding public education, and I only see where we want to defund public education in urban education.
Who said defund education?
You are defunding it because when I allow the students to take government money to go to a private school,
wait, I'm contributing
defunding
to this, Keith.
What do you mean you're contributing?
I'm a taxpayer. I'm a property owner. I pay a lot in property taxes, Keith. I think I complained about that once, but I love the city.
Okay.
So I'm okay with it,
Okay.
right? However, I do want some accountability from from the institutions that are responsible for bringing out outcomes, because I do work in workforce.
Okay. So
and I see what our labor force looks like. And when I know where the people are coming from, it's like, wait a minute now, I can't keep paying for this. I need to have some better outcomes. I need to have a better product when they're done being, I don't want to say manufactured, but when they're done going through their educational journey. At 18, when a person has graduated and completed high school, they need to be ready for the world. Period. Guess why? Because all of us have contributed to that goal. Financially, as well as some of us more, because we give our time, we're engaged in other things, we're volunteering at school, we're making sure programming can be available. But we should expect to have a level of a product. This is just what it is. We should expect to have a product that we can utilize that's going to reproduce, because that's what this is, Keith. And I hear you. And I'm not saying that we don't support it. In fact, I stated that I don't want to see the demise of MPS. So the catch-22 is we almost got to do it. We have to. If we don't, MPS is going to collapse. $250 million. That's a lot of money.
If we put a referendum on to say we want to, if you're able to do it, they're not able to do it because of law. But I'm just being hypothetical now. So we said the city of Milwaukee, we need more policemen.
Which is a true statement.
And so we need to do a referendum.
Well, we just need to look at all the overtime we pay and balance out the budget.
What I'm saying is that when we look at government, I think the other piece of it is how many students in the Glendale Nicolay School District are going to private school other than for religious reasons.
Keith, hold on. You're talking about systems that are accountable with their dollars. And this is the issue. You're talking about a public school system that managed their money well, and they have engaged parental involvement.
Well financed.
They have engaged parental involvement, right? So we're looking at some different dynamics. So they may not necessarily need people who are as skilled in managing some things, because it's almost like a natural machine that's happening there. Ours is a natural machine, but it's a deficit. Okay, so we need to be able to have folks, and this is no knock. This is no knock to anyone in administration at MPS, right? I'm just speaking as a parent. I'm speaking as a co-host here on WNOV, as an executive director of Unite WI, who do work on the ground. In fact, if you have a child who has an IEP in MPS, please reach out to our office, 414-435-0506. We have community health workers that help you navigate that, because we have resources that the parents don't even know how to use, because there has not been a streamlined process to help them understand how to be engaged in their child's education.
And I don't want to sound pejorative. I don't want to put this on all folks, and I'm not. But those things that we value, we show up for.
No, Keith.
No, ma'am.
No, sir. No, sir.
Yeah, no, yes. Those things that we value, we show up for. I can give you a great example. During the fall, Pee Wee football season, everybody shows up for Pee Wee football. Daddies are there, mamas are there. Everybody show up for Pee Wee football. Parents Teachers Conference, PTA meetings. Your son comes home. I remember talking to
So here's a solution. Just sorry to interrupt you, Keith, because you gave your own solution. Well, maybe we have parent teacher conferences during a time where Pee Wee football is happening. So that's what happened.
So what do you think? What do you think? Where do you think they're going to go to? Parents Teachers Conference or Pee Wee football? They're going to Pee Wee football.
Well, why our teachers can't go there? Why can't they set up stations to be able to capture
what I'm saying is that we have to, it has to become
present?
a value.
It's not that it's not a value.
Your behavior indicates what you value.
No, that's what people say that don't understand.
No.
Don't we make time for what we want?
Hand to mouth?
Don't we make time for what we want, whether we live hand to mouth or whatever?
Right.
And
how do you focus on behavior and schoolwork if you at a sports game?
So no, not necessarily.
I just say
not that it can be done, but we need to be innovative of how we get parents engaged who are working. First of all, if I'm a product of a system that I have not demonstrated proper academics, I'm just talking about what a cycle might look like. And so now I'm an adult. Maybe, I was a teen parent. Maybe I've just had children before I was, really stable and ready. And so in addition to me not having the preparation for a job that's going to create a sustainability in my life, I have to take what I can get. And I have to take maybe 2 or 3 things of what I can get. And I have to hustle through life while I'm raising children. And it's not that I don't want my kids to be smart, but I don't know how to help them. And so that's why we need to be able, when we think about parity and making sure that things are equal and things are balanced, we need to know that if you have a society, I hate to take it back to slavery. I hate to take it back to where we have been just broken down as a people. I talked about the lack of values and morals, the gap that existed. When we know that and the research shows it, we read it all the time when we're trying to get our grant funds, but we don't ever really internalize it when we see it. If we know that we have a society that has fallen short, they just short, Keith. They don't know, they don't have the best insight and understanding. They don't set the proper priorities, right? We need to put people that know better and do better have to do more, unfortunately, until we can have a more balanced and equal, more hands in the work to help. That's just what it is.
Let me give a great example. I know this is because women are primary caregivers. So kids are with their mothers usually. So now we have where this mother and dad will spend an enormous amount of money to make sure that this kid has football equipment. Football equipment, quite frankly, at that age, they shouldn't even have. We have to value education. And we have to value, and let's not say education, we have to value a certain level of learning. And we push back on it and we go, well, I'm so busy. No, Keon's point is a great point. You get to where you want to get to. And if it becomes important, that becomes the thing that you do. And we do not necessarily have this now verb agreement that, I'm really into educating my kid, but then my behavior. And look, there were people who never went to college. There's some people dropped out of 8th grade, but they understood the importance of education. So I'm going to put my kid in the best situation educationally so he or she can succeed. I think we see other things. We see other value systems, where if you're a boy, you're going to be a great athlete. No, chances are you're not going to be. You can be a great athlete, but you're probably not going to play pro. The numbers are not in your favor. You have to be so exceptional, right? So why are we focusing on that? That's what we see. So I think we have to expand, people say, and I told the story, why do you love reading so much? Because my mama read to me and said books are important.
Yeah.
Mama is God. Daddy is God to a child. You set the priorities. And even those folks who could not put their kids in a situation or put them with somebody who could do. This is Black History Month. I wonder how many people even read a book this month. On Black, no, I'm just asking.
Yeah, I agree.
It's Black History, and we talk about they need to teach it in the schools, but we ain't bothering to learn it. So it becomes what is important to you, and you talked about the numbers. The numbers show that if the kids are not successful in school, they're going to struggle in life. Now we're dealing with the incarceration.
That's the cycle.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
But revolution is a change of mind. You have to change your mindset, how you think about a thing.
By beholding, you become changed. You have to have examples. Like you said, you love reading because your mom helped it. So that's the. So I started the conversation off talking about the gaps. I started the conversation with that. And we can't wrap a mind around that. When we see that some mothers will in our society now, mothers will drop their kids off at their mama house, at their daddy house, and not even look back. You're talking logic to people that's not logical. You're talking about rationality to people that are not rational.
Well, then it gets back to then why did you have a baby in the first place?
You can't. What you just said it's easy.
It's
you just
easy.
talked about how easy
just because
it is
it's
to
easy
procreate.
doesn't mean that you should.
Daddy said trouble easy to get into,
logic.
hard to get out
You're
of.
talking logic to people that have
right because once the baby comes here, what we talking now? Logic. We talking matter. We're talking about material. Yes,
you're talking about people that don't process any of what you freaking saying right now, and their kids are in MPS.
So then what happens?
That's my point.
So no, if they're not processing it and they have control over the child, then what happens?
This is my point.
I know that's your point, but I'm saying, how do you move from that point?
Intergenerational conversations. How are we helping to fill the gap for mothers that can't help their children, that can't be the
a lot of
parent
people,
that
but hold on. A lot of people are saying you made that choice. That is your responsibility.
That's.
I don't think they can't. It's hard to, but can't doesn't really exist. It's what are you willing to do? You know, like once again,
if
you
I'm
make time for
stable,
you make time. That's it.
If I'm mentally stable, I can do those things.
So if you're mentally unstable, why are you having a baby?
Keith, because it don't take much for me to do but lay down. Come on, let's be real about how easy it is to make a kid. And let's be real about how easy it is for us to say, well, I don't want to be a parent anymore.
Guess who gonna get involved in your life? Me.
Keith, you think they care about you? You're not even a factor in their mind. What are you talking about?
They care about where I work.
They
care about where I work.
I'm gonna drive until I get pulled over without no license because my child support behind, and I'm gonna deal with you when I need to deal with you. You gotta understand who we're dealing with. What our society is looking like today.
But does that mean it's right? So do I dumb it down?
I ain't saying it's right.
Carlos Mencia talks about the dumbing down of America. We keep making excuses and lowering the bar. We lower it so low that now dude with the has got a college degree.
Right.
No.
You know
I'm not lowering standards because I don't believe we should give people so many benefits.
How you get a limousine at an 8th grade graduation? Yeah. You're listening to Community Voice.
Right.
We're gonna take a break and we'll be right back.
Community Voice with Keith Parris and Bria Grant on 860 AM and 106.5 FM, Milwaukee.
Make that noise, Keith.
Oh, that bass line.
We always talk about Rod Temperton and Quincy Jones. They give it to Mike, but they don't give it to Rod and Quincy. Bria was trying to be, we was talking about that the other day. Choir had the women in here, and they had the authors, and they were trying to be all inhibited, and them songs came on, and they remembered after like a split second and a half that they was on camera. They jump up, and then they fold their hands back and sit down.
Back to our wholesomeness.
Versus whatsomeness versus the other someness. Wholesomeness versus wholesomeness. Hey, listen, we already talked about this. We had what day did we have? St. Mark's came up to Atkinson Park.
Okay.
The day of something.
Yeah.
And they did it. They said, we're not gonna be churchy. We coming into the community. And Chris Crane was DJing, so it was mellow, but he was jamming. And boy, Pastor Joy was sitting there, and Pastor Joy's from like Florida, I think it's Miami or something, but she from down there. Boy, it took everything in her. She got to, oh Lord, just trying to hold it back. They all was, but by hour in, everybody went to dance.
And check this. This is so crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so last night I went to get some food,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm waiting on my food, and so they have karaoke going on in this space. They had 5 Mormons.
5 Mormons?
I was trying to figure out who are the white dudes. They were Mormons.
What were they singing?
They were
doing,
witnessing.
but they were doing on their missionary. They
Yeah.
they have to do 2 years missionary work
Mhm.
between 18 and 22.
Yeah.
And and they couldn't drink. They don't drink.
Yeah.
But no, they were getting down with the karaoke.
Oh, they got down.
They got
What
down.
was the song selection? I'm wondering.
It was a couple of one I didn't know. But I
Yeah,
guess
must
if
be
you're a regular
live.
for karaoke, this is a standard. I don't understand how anybody would get up and embarrass themselves with karaoke, but I guess after
It's
2 or 3,
fun.
What?
2 or 3, you had 2 or 3, you didn't set up.
Why does karaoke have to be embarrassing? And that's rough coming from a choir boy.
If you can't sing, it's embarrassing.
What did they think they can?
You
It's
have
not-
to be
they're
able
not-
to laugh at yourself sometimes.
I think
Keith.
you do. I think you
Yeah.
do. Because
And so it's not embarrassing if you're just having fun
Or it's just
with yourself
practice.
and others, and you're just kind of like, oh, it's okay that I can't sing.
this is Black History Month.
What does that mean?
When you get before the mic, we have an expectation you handle your business when you get before the mic. Do we not?
No, not all the time.
If you singing, if you
Come
come
on,
Well,
let's
if you're
talk,
singing at
let's talk
church,
about that church
if you get
mother
ready to sing
that you wish she was sat down.
if you get ready to do the
Yes.
anthem, if you're getting ready to do something serious, now you better come with it. But otherwise, it's okay to just have fun. Let's take the callers.
Because girls just want to have fun. That's
Man,
a big Corey. That's a big one, right?
It is.
Yeah.
But singing is what's the word you're looking for? Because
Noise.
it's the art of noise.
It's
so
noise.
projective.
It is. It's noise.
Objective.
Yeah.
Because Macy Gray, she made an art out of it. Joe Cocker.
What's the
Janis
song?
Joplin.
Is it the sound of noise they used to do it for? It used to be a lead-in for one of the Art of Noise.
Art of Noise.
Yeah.
What's that name? Dun, dun, dun,
Yeah, that's
dun,
that.
dun, dun,
Dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun.
And that's like,
Oh my gosh.
there's the short
guys.
version, but then there's a long
I've never
version.
heard the short version.
Yeah, it's the
It's
long
the
version.
13-minute version.
Right,
All right,
the
you
sound of
guys.
Noise. But that's even in the scriptures when it said makes a joyful noise, right?
All
Good
right.
morning, caller.
Good morning,
Welcome to
Rhea.
the show.
Rhea.
Shalom, family.
Hotep.
Hey, Hotep. Bria, you gotta be good
What's that? Why you say that?
because you adaptable. You move with the flow, and you gotta be able to do that with those two in there.
Oh, she's pissed sometimes. He's got to see her face. She gives the mama
That's
face.
what I'm saying.
She got mama
That's what
face
I'm saying.
for
She
sure.
gotta be good. She is good. She is good.
But we get pissed with her sometimes too. We love her.
The range of emotions that we have experienced is just like,
and you keep them on track. I
right,
will
we come
say
in
that.
here every Wednesday think it's going to be a peaceful Wednesday, take about 7-8 minutes.
7-8 minutes.
7-8 minutes. And can I see you in the kitchen? Can I talk to
Hey,
you in the back?
You know, most of your Wednesday shows are Emmy nominee type of, that level, or whatever that radio award would be. We
just want to have healthy dialogue that supports our community.
Marconi, he invented radio, right?
Yeah. There he is. The diversity of topics in one segment is amazing sometimes.
My wife calls it intellectual diarrhea.
Hey, that piece is called Moments in Love, Keith.
Moments in Love.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, Moments in
But
Love.
Wow.
Right, honestly, Craig, isn't that our life, right? Like I was speaking to someone yesterday, and this again, I had to take a mental health break because if I process truly, Keith, the number of emotions. So there's a saying for people that believe it, mourn with those who mourn, rejoice with those who rejoice. You might come into, if I'm dealing with 100 people a day, then 25% might be getting ready to mourn or mourning, another 30 are rejoicing, the others don't know where they are. And I'm to be a base. I'm to be the same. I'm to be the mirror where, let me just support. How do I support? How do we make sure you can be well, you can be whole? That's why I said those who know better, to whom much is given, much is required. Those who know better, we got to do more. And not more in a way, look at Keith, like, you don't ask me to do nothing else.
No, I just heard it, and you know better. What? That was the worst whooping.
And you know better.
Yeah, ignorance. If I didn't know, still gonna whoop me. But I didn't know. But if I knew and then did it, like my mother used to ask, why did you do it? Mm-hmm. I could never tell her the truth.
You're not supposed to. There's no lashes.
No, because I wanted to. Yeah. I'm just going to purposely disobey you. Uh-huh.
So that's where that philosophy fits in, from each according to their ability, to each according to their contribution.
Yes.
Hold on, Craig, wait a minute. Keith, did she just ask you why you didn't tell your mama? Because you was getting on my damn nerves, and I wanted to do it.
Because I wanted to do it. You would have never met me.
Daddy, I'm tired of you. That's why I did it.
Why did you do it? Do you want the truth? Do you want the truth?
Neither can I.
Go ahead,
you're not going to be able to handle it.
Come on, you guys. We only got a couple more minutes.
We're serious, though.
No. Just more evidence.
Right, exactly.
Just more evidence. That's all. But it's good. Hey, I call.
Go ahead, because Craig really had a point he was trying to make.
I did, but everything that you just said, Bria, it fits into the conversation that you were having prior to going to the break about how we need to support how our young people are not driven towards just sports, right? Mm-hmm. So how do we find that balance? Because you do have some parents who think that's going to be their only ticket out.
Right.
Yep.
And this society has, as you said, Bria, I heard you before we went there. The society has, the reality is, parts to a degree has designed it that way because they want to keep us in an entertainment. You're here for my entertainment. You're here for to be a commodity for me. Mm-hmm. And so as long as we can sustain that, we are going to. And then therein lies why some, education systems, if you will, some school districts have been always better funded than those that are there to educate the Black child, particularly, and other children of color, because they don't want to compete with you in the world where the $1 billion portfolios and business deals are being handled, right? This is, when you think about it, how is it that we're here in 2024 and we still have, 80% of the government run by white men? This is by design because they want to be in a position of power to maintain and sustain this privilege that they've had. Mm-hmm. And this is what, to me, this is where the dot that's connected to all of this talk about birth control and abortion is based. What is it, Senator Kennedy out of not Kennedy, Tuberville. He said the other day, out of all of the ignorance, right? But he said the other day on national TV, well, we just got to have more kids, and it was related to that IVF, matter. And his response was, well, we just got to have more kids. We got to have, and so what do you read into that? I read into it right away. Their population is dwindling. I mean, the U.S. population as a whole is dwindling, but the white population has been falling off. And who was it? Dr. Her name was escaping me. But anyway, the sister said, that the population, the white population is going to diminish because the black gene is dominant. So when you start intermingling, and this is one of the things they recognize. And the last piece is we're fastly approaching 2035, 2040, where that's supposed to flip according to the statistics, right? So they want to avoid that at all. If at all possible, they're trying to get away from that. That's why there's such a love for Putin now and the things that he's doing over there, because if you can get a strong man, if you will, to sell you some tennis shoes and get back in the office and then be able to set up the system so that, he can put things in play so I can ship a bunch of you black or you brown folks out of this country anytime I'm ready. Then they can control the population and make sure that they can keep, the numbers where they are always the majority. And to me, that's what it's about.
Can we just beyond the politics of it? And I guess I'm always concerned. And I understand some things are political, it's going to be legislative. But that's why I would say that we need to clearly identify lanes. Science has its own lane. And so when it comes down to reproductive rights, it really does come down. It's a health issue. It really does come down to a health issue. If you've ever, I was a manager in a large system, predominantly female, and the number one health issue I had to deal with as a manager was pregnancy. It's the number one health issue. I mean, and the disproportionate impacts it has on the woman, because one, she's carrying the child, two, at some point she may or may not be able to work, right, because of the pregnancy. I think women should exercise that control. They should have that autonomy over their bodies. The other thing I'm uncomfortable with, an embryo is an embryo and it's not a child. I was having a conversation last week with State Senator LaTanya Johnson, and she kept referring to it as a child. And I said, when you do it as a child, or you're saying that you're conferring certain rights on an embryo, and then you're equating it to a child. It is not. It's an embryo. We have to look at it in terms of what it starts off sperm, zygote, embryo, and you work your way up, right? My wife and I were having this discussion then about when does life begin? Okay. And if you go, I tell people, if you really want to, and I had to do this because of how do I take a position on abortion, is go and see what different religious groups says when a life begins. There is not universal agreement on that. So then I think because it is biological, then it should go back and we should be dealing with it from the biology, the impact that it has on the health of the woman, the possible impact it could have if that child is born. What's going to, the very people who want to give that embryo rights in the womb are the same people who are going to take away the rights of a fully born child if he looks a certain way.
Let's not digress into that conversation. That's very deep, but I appreciate you sharing those.
How come I can't be deep?
Well, we can, but that's just not the topic. It's going to digress. It's going to take us to a rabbit hole.
But he brought up the point, IVF.
Yeah, I get you. I
in vitro fertilization. And this is now, because now it becomes an issue. You want them to have more kids. Okay. I mean, it gets in, but it's the politics and the religion that's driving a lot of this discussion around it. And I think it just needs to get back to the physiology and the biology. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you. Couple things. I was getting ready to digress into the IVF too. That's why I said let's not go go down that rabbit hole, Keith, because that is
Well,
a deep rabbit hole. But what I do want to mention, right? So Craig talked about what we're exposing our children to. Beyond, I said, I made a stat on my social media. I said we want to do everything Beyonce does except for be healthy and raise children. Her children don't get electronics till they're 13, and she's actually following the trend of many wealthy people and folks that are aware of these dynamics. Of course, in many of our communities, our children are 2 with tablets. And so they're just exposed to anything that is populated in the algorithm.
Have you ever seen it before?
What?
Have we seen this before? No.
What's that?
I don't know if you remember that there were people who said that television was raising their kids.
It's the idiot box.
Yeah, right. I mean, and I don't know if you ever saw Cable Guy, but that was the whole thing about how he grew up. His mom was doing whatever. So the television, the tablet is the television.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's the same, but you're right. I mean, it is like crack. I watch my goddaughter.
The addiction is similar.
She carries her tablet. She'll turn it on. She's not even paying attention. She just needs to know that it's there. Now, you balance that, right? You balance that between, all right, but then you're going to also read books. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. They're 5, 6. They need to. I don't know.
No, they don't need to be so exposed.
Not so much exposed,
but that's what happens when you give them a device that you really, even if you put parental settings on there, they can still, be exposed to things that they're just really not.
You know what you should be concerned about? What they're exposed to? The advertising.
That's my point about the algorithm, right?
But they're not getting any illicit kind of material. Maybe some kids have figured out, but most of them don't, and they're not even attracted to that.
Here's
the whole Barbie thing.
Yeah.
And my goddaughter kept saying, I want to download the Barbie game. And I said, it was Rhonda's tablet.
Mm-hmm.
She said, so download it. I said, I don't know Rhonda's passcode. Yes, you do. You know the code. No, I don't. But for her, it's a game she saw, and that's what she wants to. So I think that would really be the concern.
Hold on, wait. The concern is that you're a child telling me what I said I don't have. Now I told you I don't have a password, and you're not going to be able to download this. That's the end of that conversation. No, I'm not a mean mother.
Wait, so mean. That's why I wasn't finna tell you why I did what you was finna whoop me for.
Hold on, no. If
you
we
just
cannot...
See,
she went to Bobby Bone. Did you?
Bobby Bone.
Turn on green.
Because what you demonstrated is the seed that grows of disdain for your authority. First of all, you're my father. If you tell me that you don't have something, I am not to challenge you to say you do. That is the problem that we have with our children.
We understood that.
That's the issue.
You never said.
But we was just telling you why I wasn't gonna tell you why I did what I did.
When they said no to you, you didn't say why come.
Keith, that is different.
No.
Asking me.
Shut down.
Asking me. I wish I do tell my uncle, my daddy. He tells me, I don't have it, and I say, yeah, you do. You do have it. No, I'm not getting ready to challenge him because the first thing he gonna turn around and do is backslap me. The fact that I told you I don't have it, and you're gonna challenge me and say I do. Who are you?
And I told you not.
You ain't paying no bills up in here. You're not gonna challenge my authority. And then what happens is it goes into the classroom. So I don't have no respect for my daddy at home. Not true respect. Not true respect.
Look at her.
So because I don't have true respect for my daddy, when I come to the teacher, who are you?
Right.
Go and sit down. You ain't gonna tell me what to do. Look, this is what happens. Right. We gotta take control of our homes. That's what we need to do.
What Don King said, we gotta get them young, we gotta get them impressionable, and we gotta get us some power.
That's facts. That's what Don King said. He had a lot of sense.
Ving Rhames, that's that movie, only in America.
Yeah, because like I said, I didn't recognize you.
You didn't recognize me. I went in mode.
You went in mode.
Yes.
Did you see the whole body language?
I already knew
it. Just
I got a black
oil.
mother. I got a black mother.
It's ready to pounce.
You know who I didn't recognize?
So,
the one that asked you why you didn't tell him the truth. That's why they recognize.
So let me tell you what
And you know what that conditions you to do? Lie when you're in trouble.
So this is what I had a Facebook memory pop up on my timeline, right? My 13-year-old, sweet, I love my baby girl. She's amazing. I think I shared she got accepted into USM because my baby needs to go to the best, and we can't pay for 2 school districts. No, we cannot.
She does.
But I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna open up that kind of can of worms again.
120 East.
You know,
Silver Spring.
So this is what the memory popped up. She was 8 years old, or it was 5 years ago. So yeah, she was 8 years old. And what I had posted was a conversation she and I had where she told me, "Mom, you don't give me choice."
Damn right. I heard that answer before.
You don't give me choice. And then she went on to say, I need to be able to stand up for myself. And she's absolutely, anybody that knows her today, know this 13-year-old, she stands up for not herself. She's a very amazingly articulate young lady. But when I was reading that, and I'm like, well, praise the Lord, Bria, these children need to know that you're not always going to have choice. And so she can accept that now in spaces. Keith, but you
do have a choice. You got a choice to stand up and get put back down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you got your choice.
Always got a choice.
You always got a choice.
All right, let's get this.
I exercised the choice when I purposely disobeyed what you told me not to do.
Why you do it, Keith?
Here's the other thing.
I'm going to tell you what, you know how you say answer that? We don't used to always say nothing. Why you do it? Nothing.
You don't even say that. But here's the other thing.
And young people, if you're listening, don't fall for the okie-doke.
Oh,
don't let your parents tell you it's okay to tell me the truth because
No.
they're gonna kill you.
That's not true. That's not true. Don't tell children that. No, it is okay to tell your parents the truth. And what we do is we hope that the parents are mature enough to manage that truth.
As a parent, I want you to tell me.
Children, this is your adult moment when you have to weigh those odds.
Why did you do it? Oh, cause I wanted to.
Jesus told me to.
Yeah, I was inspired. I want a mission from God.
Yeah.
Good morning, caller.
I'll send you to see God.
Good morning. First thing I want to say, whether you're rich or whether you're poor, as long as you walk through the fire and the journey with your son or daughter, you are giving them the best. Let's not be so quick to be jumping on Team Ho Beyonce, because first of all, we don't know what's going on in her house. Just as well, she don't know what's going on in our house. The other thing we also need to understand too, if we want to raise these kids to be powerful, we can't teach them to cower down to white people, because we know when white people talk, everybody's lips get clutched. Okay, so if we're going to raise these kids to be powerful, you don't raise them to be good niggas and keep their mouth shut. That's why we in the position that we are now. That goes from that sap-sucking, no good sap-sucking Trump to these no good niggas on the street. And see, the problem is black people been pre-programmed. So if you want your kid to be powerful, teach them to stand up. And the same way you can sit up in church on Sunday, hoochie, ha-ha, all that, you can sit down with your kids and find out what direction they want to go. Now, that's what you call powerful. You can give your kids all the best, but if you're willing to walk through the fire, you're giving them all that you get. Because some of y'all ain't doing that. Some of y'all are paying for it, but ain't doing sugar, honey, iced tea with them. Now, some of y'all can argue that. Have a good day.
Hey, I got one for you. My daddy taught me how to be powerful. Found out right here with Keith on this radio station. He said, you just like your daddy in middle school. He wouldn't let nobody be hurting and put down, but he taught me how not to stand up against him too. Real well.
That's how you said it.
I know what Al told you, but Al about to get you killed.
I'm standing up.
I'm gonna be a man. Yeah, not for long.
Get up, get back down. Sit back down.
And my mother, she was having a conversation. And look, parenting is not an exact science, right?
Mm-hmm.
It really is learn as you go. You can get any book, but learn as you go. Later in life as adults, we're talking, and my mom was going, maybe we should have sat down and talked about why you were doing what you were doing, and maybe we should have prayed.
Okay.
Now notice maybe we should have, which means we didn't. I'm kind of going like, well, but that's an interesting thing because kids, we go, why are they lying? They're lying because they're fearful of the consequence.
That's because
That's what.
it's a natural thing,
Is it
right?
natural or learned?
It's both natural and learned. It's a protective
Right.
measure.
So when you sit up here going like, well, they lied to me. Of course they lied to you, but hey, guess what? You probably lied to your parents too.
And let me just share. I don't think that I think that there's been a significant decline in church attendance. So folks are not gravitating to religion. I think the way that
Young people are not.
Yeah, I mean that the assumption is, and
Old
so
folks are scared of dying, so they want to get in and make sure they're in okay.
Oh, is that what it is?
I don't know.
Then what happens is you just become more stable in your life.
I told them at church, I said, look, who's talking about heaven? Young people or old people?
I mean,
old people. Young people ain't talking about heaven because heaven in their mind, I ain't even close to it.
Well, I
as
think
you get
that's
older,
that level of actualization in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? As we grow into our stability, it happens as we age. Most times, usually people are. I mean, this is a long journey. This is a heavy journey of awareness and your place in the world and universe. And like if you're living hand to mouth, it's very difficult to think on that level in some ways. And when we talk about a poverty mindset, I cannot have means and not have a poverty mindset, and have a mindset of not scarcity, but of abundance and of something more. And it shows in those homes. And let me just say something else. There are other folks, and we talk about overexposure to our children. You're supposed to guard the mind in a lot of ways, and kids are sponges. They absorb many people. Google, Apple, the CEOs of tech companies will attest their children are not exposed to the very products that they sell society, because they know, even Mark Zuckerberg says, he knows, they got the research. They know the impact that and in fact, some of them have even stated that in some ways they did not anticipate some of the outcomes of
and
these
I agree with that.
platforms.
And so as a parent, you have the responsibility not now.
Yes.
Here's the other piece of it. But some of this aberrant behavior is being demonstrated by the parents in the crib.
Absolutely true.
So when people talking about da 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 da, like my mama asked me, where'd you learn how to cuss? Not you.
I mean, we talk about mental health all the time. It's a spectrum, and some people are here, or people can't see my hand. Some people are lower on the spectrum. Some people are higher, more intense on the spectrum, right? And so we need to know that when we're dealing with mental health, it's going to impact the way we function as an individual, whether we're parents, whether we're a teacher, whatever it is, it's going to impact how we engage.
You're listening to Community Voice. We're up on the last break of the program. We'll be right back. voice.
a secretive pastor right there.
No, it's not. It's a human being.
No, I said you are a
it's
secretive
protective.
pastor.
No, I'm not a secretive pastor. I'm just saying.
We had the argument. You said everybody got secrets.
But that ain't. Yeah,
I know we're up at the last of the break. I just want to encourage people.
Amen.
I just want to encourage people because I want to be intentional. I try not to open things up and not close it. And so April 2nd is going to be a really important vote. Again, I've said this is not sexy. There's not a lot of things that are going to draw us to the polls, except for, the presidential. No, it's not going to draw us to the polls. Nonetheless,
Republicans, if there's still a race, we don't know if she's still going to be in after Super Tuesday.
Well, I think she's committed to it. She doesn't want to back down, and I think it's a principle that she should actually not back down. She should keep moving forward. But nonetheless, that's neither here nor there. We'll talk about
30
that.
seconds.
No, okay. So Keith, don't that pressure. Reach out to your school board members, not to say that, I don't want to support this, because we have to support the MPS referendum. Like, hear what I'm saying. I'm not saying that we have to. There is no choice here in this matter. But what we do need to have as we commit to this, we need to have more accountability with how MPS is spending our dollars, and we need to create platforms and avenues for the masses who may not be able to attend all the board meetings to have access to what's going on. So reach out to your local school board member. You can go to the MPS website to find out who that is.
And touch.
Or you can call 414. Let me just get MPS board member number. 414-7.
If you can. Give a number.
414-475-8284.
Make this a better place. If you can.
Praise the Lord.
Let me thank Miss Bria Grant, Keon Jackson Malone, Young Carvey, Debo. Everybody's made this program possible. Yes, sir.
Don't forget Intergenerational Talking Circle tomorrow, Thursday, February 29th, Claiborne's Place, Wisconsin Black Historical Society, 2620 West Center Street, 5:45 to 8 p.m. Check us out.
The good Lord willing, creek don't rise. Hope to talk to everybody tomorrow. And as always, go from this place in peace.
Father.